But what I said yesterday very clearly was I thought the Bruins were going to get a lot of whistles, and they didn't. They got whistled for more penalties than Florida did. Fine. But I said there was going to be a big swing.
Important call of the night?
Yeah, it was up there.
Yeah, I'd say that was probably the most important call.
It was up there, but it was one call, and it wasn't swayed in the Bruins' direction.
So your vote is not the refs?
No, it's Jeremy Swayman. It's 100% Jeremy Swayman.
I'm so disappointed.
Well, be disappointed then, because you guys are both idiots. The Bruins got whistled for more penalties than the Panthers did. That's not what I said yesterday. What I said yesterday is there'd be a big swing in the Bruins' favor, which there was not.
Moved beyond this inconsistency that you bring.
I'm being very consistent
sometimes, and I feel like you spent the last 2 days not only telling us, okay, the Celtics won because they got a beneficial whistle.
No. It's because they got 17 more free throws than the other team, Mego. You're wrong.
But the game-winning goal, that's not a very consequential whistle.
One call.
One call that
which wasn't even a call,
whether
it was a non-call.
Tied game or winning goal.
Sam Bennett wasn't a call either. Sam Bennett was also a non-call.
That was also a non-call. But how many power plays has Florida gotten this series as opposed to the Bruins? It's not even close. And what I was saying is it would swing in the other direction, and I thought that would help the Bruins, but it didn't swing in the other direction.
All I'm going to tell you is I think Florida got some good whistles in games 3 and 4. I think Sam Bennett got a good whistle. I think you got a good whistle last night is all I would say.
But I'd say it was more of an even whistle than it's been earlier on, but that doesn't count as a swing towards the Bruins.
I thought it was a good whistle last night for the Bruins. I thought that was favorable for them. And we'll play you some audio on this coming up. But Arkan, you actually voted for Swayman?
Yes, absolutely. I think Jeremy Swayman is he made that guarantee before the game. That last save that he had in the last few seconds, I had goosebumps watching that. He was tremendous the whole game, and I was rooting for him.
You didn't have goosebumps.
Yes, I did. I had goosebumps on my goosebumps, to quote our Ford trucks. But yes, I was very much hoping that he would come out there and have a good game. He had one of his best games of the playoffs, and he gave him a chance. He gave him a chance in that game, and that's the reason why they won, I think.
Okay, so Swayman was their best player. I think that's inarguable. You mentioned the final moments. He was their best player. He was phenomenal last night. He was great. He's not why they won, and I'll explain that. Swayman's been their best player in all these games. He's been great in all these games. What he's needed is help. He's been good enough to win every single one of these games, maybe, I don't know, outside of game 2. Off the top of my head, I got to go back and break it down. He's been fine. He has not been their issue. He was great again last night. He's been great all series. He's been great all postseason. Does he get any help? Last night he got help. Last night, McAvoy it's a secondary assist, but he dumps the puck in. DeBrusque goes and retrieves it. Great feed to Geekie. Bruins are up 1-0 right away. Right away at the start of the game, they start exactly how they have to. On time, which I doubted, which I didn't expect. I listened to him over the 24 to 48 hours leading into the game. Sweeney sounds checked out. Maroon sounds checked out. Montgomery sounds indifferent. No one has any passion or, it felt to me, any real care in the world about this series. And I was wrong. They came out, they were ready to go. They outshot him 13-4. McAvoy gets him going early. He gets the goal because he shot the puck. He shot the puck. I know it's the most basic thing ever, but they have 2 games in this series. They've shot more than 20 shots on goal, and they've won them both. So shoot the puck. Bobrovsky's beatable. He shot the puck. He beat him. Shouldn't be surprised. And then the final 3 minutes, Maurice pulled the goalie with 3:05 left, which I thought was bold. I know in real-time, Arkan, you said you liked it. He's blocking shots. He's throwing people around. He's clearing the zone. All around dominant game from Charlie McAvoy, which we hadn't seen. We hadn't even seen a halfway around decent game from Charlie McAvoy. All around dominant game from him, which is why I voted for Charlie McAvoy as the biggest reason why the Bruins won last night.
It certainly makes sense. I think it was a huge factor. I agree. I think it was maybe a bigger factor than Swayman, which feels crazy because Swayman had a really great performance last night, especially in those final seconds. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a classic Bruins heartbreaker. This is going to be a heartbreaker, but also hilarious because we've seen this before with the goalie. But no, I think that McAvoy was the difference. I don't know where that play has been this entire series, but hopefully he's found something and he can dig into that and keep it going because it was a huge difference last night.
There was a theory that he was hurt, and Sweeney shot that down the other day. So, I mean, look, they can make excuses after their season if they want on excuse day, but right now he's supposedly healthy, and he looked at last night. So what was the biggest reason for the Bruins, their win last night in Game 5? Jeremy Swayman, says Arkan. Charlie McAvoy was my vote. Mego voted for the first period where they started on time and outshot Florida 13-4. No one voted for the refs interestingly enough. Huh.
Well, that's not true. It's almost 3%.
No one on this show, I meant, voted. Maybe we'll hear from the listeners out there. I'll update the polling coming up in a moment. I'm sure Paul Bissonnette is just voting over and over and over and over again. But it's interesting. The Bruins win the game. I don't hear anything about the refs, despite being at the heart of a review that was very key in this game last night, where Heinen does make contact with Bobrovsky. He's not the one who knocks out Bobrovsky's stick. That was his own teammate on Florida. But Heinen's in there making contact, and it's interesting. I don't hear about the refs. Here's Jim Montgomery after the game during that review on the McAvoy goal.
What were you thinking on when they were going to the video, and what does it mean for Charlie to get a goal given his importance to your team?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts were make sure you send the right message to the bench no matter what happens. Hey, we got to get one on the power play, or let's just keep playing next play, next shift. Because, it hasn't been going our way, and it was nice that one did,
Nice that one did. Nice they got a good whistle. I agree with them. Nice they finally got a good, favorable whistle from the referees. I agree with Jim Montgomery on that. Let's go to the other side. Here's supervillain Paul Maurice after the game on his challenge.
I thought that there was just enough of a bump. There's a difference between the clean shot and the rebound shot. Those are two different situations. It was a clean shot, and I thought in the crease, keeping Bob from setting is enough. I also don't mind if I'm wrong taking it between the eyes on something like that, because I still think I need to be involved in the game. It's part of me barking at the timeout. At some point you need to, I think, grab the yoke or the noose, one of the two. That's your job. Ugh. I don't know if that made sense, but I just felt if I'm wrong, it's me.
Okay, so that's Paul Maurice, his view on it. Thought there was contact there. You guys can jump in at 617-779-7937. Already the Arcan simps are out. Bobby in the Twitch chat, twitch.tv/Boston WEEI. I'm starting a petition. Stop ripping on Arcan.
I'll sign that petition.
Wah.
Leave Arcan alone.
Leave Arcan alone.
And more of this. Here is Steve in Plymouth. Steve, go ahead.
Hey guys, first time, long time, but I am absolutely in Arcan's camp on this. He did not flip-flop. If you listen to what he said yesterday, he outright said that we were going to get more whistles. The whistles were going to be in our favor, and once again, they were not in our favor. There was more calls, crap calls against us than there was against the Panthers, and the one call that you're suggesting was the biggest call of the game, as he said, was a no call. If they didn't have the right to review, it wouldn't have even been an issue because it was never an issue to begin with.
Steve, real quick. Did you have an issue with Sam Bennett cross-checking Charlie Coyle in the back? Because that was a non-call, too.
Well, yeah, that should not have been a non-call.
I see. So that one shouldn't have been a non-call, but this one
Look, I think the non-call, it was...
Isn't it?
It was a little edgy, but I think it was the right one. I think it was right. I agree with that. I'm not saying that they got...
Bobrovsky was out of the crease when they made contact, and he reset himself. That's not goalie interference.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I just am more...
Here's the thing.
I think it's interesting that the refs don't play, such a big role when it ends up in your favor.
It's an awfully slippery slope once we start blaming the refs for all of our problems, isn't it?
It is if you make it one.
You made it one.
I don't think so. I didn't make one in the game last night because it wasn't.
Okay.
By the way,
when the Bruins Monday and Tuesday ripping the refs in two different sports.
Right, because I thought that there was cause to. I didn't think there was cause to last night because the calls were pretty much on the level.
Because the Bruins won.
No, it's not because the Bruins won.
Because the Bruins won. So
it's not because the Bruins won. If the Bruins had lost and it was the same kind of whistle, I wouldn't have said anything about the refs.
Bruins won. I don't care about the refs anymore. Bruins lose, mad about the refs.
All right, fine. Were the refs in the tank for the Bruins when they took 3 high sticks to the face in that first period? No. None of them got whistled. How about when they called an embellishment and a penalty on the embellishment? How about that? Were they in the tank for the Bruins for that one? Or when they called more penalties on the Bruins than the Panthers? Were they in the tank for the Bruins there?
It's just convenient. No, I don't think the refs were in the tank.
In the other games, how many more penalties did they call on the Bruins than the Panthers?
More.
Like 6-1 in most of them.
How much more?
How can you possibly say that's the same as last night?
How much more do the Panthers possess the puck? How much more do the Panthers shoot the Bruins? Like the Panthers.
It's hard to shoot when you're on the penalty kill all the time, Jones.
It's hard to draw penalties when you don't have the puck. Do you ever think about that? And so it's the same idea with the Pacers. The Pacers are crying about not getting calls because they're shooting from 10 feet behind 3. So no crap, you're not going to get any calls. I don't blame the refs. But it's a slippery slope. Once you start to blame them, then you don't want to hear about it when your team wins. And this isn't just directed at you.
They didn't win because of the refs.
This is Bruins fans in general. Well, I know you think that. The Bruins won, so the refs aren't a problem anymore. I know you think that. This is why talking about the refs is so annoying. Your team loses, blame the refs. Your team wins, the other team's crybabies. Like, that's annoying.
Was there a huge disparity in penalties or not?
No.
Okay, so then what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the biggest call in the game that was on the game-winning goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was called correctly.
Okay.
You don't actually think it was goalie interference, do you?
You don't actually think the refs were the problem in the first couple of games. I don't think.
Yes, I do. Well,
don't.
not at all.
Arcan, let me ask you this. On that particular call, do you think the context of what happened with the previous goalie interference call had any weight bearing on that no call?
I think it could have, yeah.
Of course it
I think
did.
It could have, sure.
Of course it did.
But I also think it was a much different play
they knew
than the one with Bennett.
The league would look
the one with Bennett was much more obvious than that
Let me do Florida Arcan after Game 4, okay? This is Boston Arcan after Game 5. Let me do Florida Arcan after Game 4. Oh, well, Charlie Coyle flopped, and there really wasn't all that much contact, and Sam Bennett was going to score anyway.
He could have reset himself.
He could have reset himself, so that's exactly why they didn't end up causing the penalty.
He could have reset himself with Coyle in his lap.
Away the goal.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. He could have. He didn't want to. He decided not to.
That's his own teammate.
That's Florida Arcan after Game 4.
Okay, he didn't want to.
Very, very convenient. No hatred for the refs today. Boy, it's a slippery slope. It's dangerous to open up that Pandora's box. I didn't do that earlier this week.